should be safe places for teaching and learning, but a new report has revealed that sexual violence is commonplace at primary schools. Nearly half of the girls surveyed in some Khayelitsha schools have experienced violence in an intimate relationship. To tell us more, Palesa Mokwane is in our Cape Town studio. She's with the Soul City Institute. It is one of the organizations involved in the research. It's very good to have you with us, Ms. Palesa Mokwane. Can you tell us more about your findings at some of the schools in Khayelitsha?
Thank you, and good evening to the viewers. So the findings from the study is really telling us that schools are not necessarily the safest place, because that's where learners are experiencing a large sexual violence. And it really then says to us that there is quite a number of interventions that need to take place, as these violences have a huge influence of school-related sexual violences, meaning that there is social, economical, and even health consequences of sexual violence.
Can I just stop you there? What exactly do you mean by sexual violence? And I know that you also put it in a frame of intimate relationship. How do those two work together? Can you hear me, Ms. Mokwane?
Sorry, I lost you there.
Okay. I want you to explain to us what you mean by sexual violence, and I know that you've put it in the context in this research of an intimate relationship. What defines an intimate relationship, and with whom in this context?
Okay. So with intimate partner violence or sexual violence, we are talking about, sexual violence that are taking place or between learners themselves, or learners with teachers. So it could range from pulling of hair, slapping, fists, like threats, be verbal, and even rape. So there's quite a number of these sexual interactions that actually happen amongst learners or even with teachers.
And is this commonplace? Is this the new norm? Or is this something new?
This is something, obviously the study happened in 2015, and it shows us that schools are supposed to be a normal and safe place where learners feel safe or are actually, protected. But it clearly shows that schools are not the safest place to be around. And it's not new.
Okay, you also, sorry, I just want to go back to our conversation about sexual violence. I mean, you did mention rape in there, but is there something else when it comes to these intimate relationships that surprised you possibly, that defines this?
I did not get that.
I wanted to explore more about the sexual violence that you're talking about here, what exactly it means, other than the rape that you mentioned.
Okay, so remember this whole sexual violence is happening in a context of a school. So what happens is that we are talking about what is normalized in society, that, for instance, a male counterpart to their female counterpart can slap you on the butt because they want to have a relationship with you. They could twist your arm because they want to have that relationship with you. So those are the kind of violences that learners are experiencing. And it does get into, like a big dynamic around patriarchy, allowing, because it's so normal and normalizing the fact that people can then come and hit you, and it's okay because maybe you're a girl as opposed to being a guy.
Wow. And where does this come from? What does it say about the society that these kids are in? What does it say about their homes, possibly?
So there's a number of factors that influence this, but the biggest one is patriarchy, because we are living in a South Africa that says to us, it is normal not to even report this. It is normal for a young woman to be flated towards. You know, somebody can just call you out or just curse you out because maybe you are, you know, because of the inequality that we have as a society. So our community has allowed this because it's normal. And also from the research itself, the qualitative surveys just shows also that young people, especially young women, think it is okay to just accept it. It's wrong to perhaps even find yourself reporting it because he's my brother. I grew up knowing him. He's my uncle, or he's the principal or the teacher that I'm supposed to be trusting as a young person. So it is really rooted patriarchy that we need to unleash and actually talk to in all the conversations we have.
We've got a long way to go, haven't we? What are the solutions other than raising the conversations, as you said? Can there be safe places in school in order to stop this from happening? How would you police this, change it?
Okay, so what happens right now is that the implementing partners, which is Soul City Institute and Grassroots Soccer, through the Comic Relief funded initiative, which is the Sexual Violence in School campaign, it is really looking into how do we then involve young people, even from an earlier age, because then it is shown that we need to give more focus to the younger generation, and also to challenge, for instance, when we talk school concept, how do we start getting those conversations in the classrooms? How do we then start challenging policy that looks into shifting those harmful gender norms? So what are we talking about gender norms? Or also, do they even understand what sexual violence is? So it's also looking into then saying, how do we then build on the research itself so that it does influence and complement, you know, at least a shift in what is being experienced.
And if we don't tackle this now and take your suggestions on board, what sort of society are we looking at in, say, 10 years' time?
Then we are basically just saying it's okay to rape, it's okay to hit around, it's okay to get young people pregnant without their consent, because with school-related sexual violence, we are looking at something that could impact on reproductive sexual health issues. We now have seen also young people who had been raped and now are committing suicide. So it's something that's really a ticking time bomb that we need to be looking into right now and making sure that we tackle it, and we tackle it now. So for instance, we're talking government, we're talking civil society organizations. How do we make it a point that we re-emphasize and make sure that our programs are relevant?
And if we have to tackle this sort of topic every day, we shall until things change. Palesa Mokwani, thank you very much for talking to us. We'll go live to France after this. You're watching Tonight with Jane Dutton.